Hi, so for today we're going to talk about solving linear equations in one variable. This is my very first video in algebra, and I hope it would help you for those who are taking algebra courses there. So, linear equation, what is a linear equation? Linear equation is also called the first degree equation because in this equation, the variable, the highest exponent of the variable is 1. Okay? So since the greatest power of the variable is 1. So for example, we have these equations here. 8x plus 3 is equals to negative 9. So the variable here is x and there is no other variable present. So hence we call that a linear equation because the exponent of x to which it is raised, it is automatically raised to 1. Okay? And the same also for 2x minus 3 is equals to 10. So common problems here in linear equation is that we have to find what is the value of x in order for us to satisfy the equation. Okay, so this is an introductory topic in algebra, and this is an important lesson for you to know how to find the values of the x in a linear equation. So it can be any other variable. It could be a, b, c, but for algebra, it's always common to use x. Okay, so we have here sample problems. You have, I think, 7 problems. I'm going to write the other 2 problems later on when we are done solving this. Okay, let's get started. So let's get started for this equation. So 3x plus 2 is equals to 10. We need to solve the value of x in order for this equation to satisfy, for the left equation to be equal to 10. So how do we do that? First of all, okay, we must isolate x, okay, in order to find that. So 3x is equals to 10 minus 2. We need to transpose these two, okay, since it is an addition, we need to transpose it on the other side. And when we are transposing it, we see to it that we actually changed the sign from positive, now it became negative 2. Actually, there is no transpose. So, what do we mean here by that is simply 3x plus 2 is equals to 10 is that what we do in order for us to cancel 2 here, we need to subtract this left side of this equation to 2, okay? And of course, what we do here on the left side of the equation, we must also do here. So what happened is that 10 minus 2. So that they are still equal. So what you subtract here on the left side is also what you subtract here. So what will happen? These 2's will cancel. It would be 3x equals 10 minus 2. Hence, we have this equation now. Okay? So, we transpose 2 on the other side. So what will happen? We have 3x is equals to 8. And of course, if we have to isolate the x, we must both divide both sides of the equation, or I mean multiply it by 1/3. So if we're going to multiply it by 1/3, so we have here 3x multiplied by 1/3 and 8 times 1/3. So this would cancel, okay? And you have the remaining x here. And numerator times numerator, that is 8 over 3. Hence, our value of x for this equation is 8 over 3. So it means that if we substitute 8 over 3 here to our original equation, we would get 10. So let's check if we could get 10. Okay? So we have 3 multiplied by 8 over 3 because that's the value of our x, plus 2 is equals to 10. Okay, we know that these 3's will cancel, okay, because it has a denominator of 1. So if we are multiplying this to this, numerator times numerator, okay, this would cancel because this is in the numerator, this is in the denominator. So we are left with 8 plus 2 is equals 10. So this is 10 is equal to 10. So our value of x is correct because of this equality. Okay, that's an easy one. So let's go now to number 2. Number 2 problem we have here. We must solve x in this. Solve 2x minus 5 is equals to 5x minus 2. As you can see here, both sides of the equation have now the presence of x. This is still a linear equation because both of the x's of the left side of the equation and on the right side of the equation are simply still raised to 1. So, we need to solve the value of x. So, what are we going to do is to combine like terms. This is actually a constant, okay, a coefficient with a variable, and this is simply a constant. And on the right side, we have a coefficient and a variable, and we have a constant. So, what will happen is that we need to group the terms in order for us to simplify. So, what will happen is that negative 5, okay, minus 5, this is the minus 5. I'm going to transfer or transpose negative 2 on the other side so that we can simplify. So if I'm going to transpose this minus 2, this should become plus 2. And that is now equal to 5x. Simply I copied this. Well, of course, I'm going to transpose this on the other side because I'm combining like terms. So 5x minus 2x. So let's simplify. I'm going to write here 5x minus 2x. Okay, negative 5 plus 2. It doesn't matter. So 5x minus 2x, that is 3x. And negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Hence, if we're going to multiply this both by 1/3 just to cancel this 3 here. So what will happen is that 3x times the 1/3 negative 3 times 1/3. Okay? So we can see that 3's will cancel. We are left with x here. And negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. That should now be our value of the x. And how do we check? Okay, we substitute what we get, the value of x here, into the original equation. So let's try if that would equal. Because this is the solution. This should be the value of x for this equation, linear equation, to be equal. So let's try. Checking. Okay. We have 2 multiplied by negative 1 minus 5 equals to 5 times negative 1 minus 2. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 minus 5. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5 minus 2. We're going to simplify this. Negative 7 and negative 7. So hence, we got the correct answer, which is x is equals to the negative 1. So moving on to number 3, let's solve some problems still. So we have for number 3, we have solve for the value of x in the linear equation 5 times quantity 2x plus 3 is equals to 3 minus 2 multiplied by 3x minus 5. Okay. Still, we need to simplify this linear equation such that we're going to isolate x. But before that, we should be able to simplify first the equation. So, by distributing this 5 into these terms, so we have 5 times 2x, that should be 10x, plus 5 times 3, that's 15. 3 minus, well, of course, 2 multiplied by 3x and minus 5. Of course, not forgetting to include the minus sign. So negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Okay? And negative 2 times negative 5 is plus 10. Okay, combining like terms again. So on the left side, let's try to group the coefficient with variables. So we have 10x. We have to transpose this on the other side. So this would become 6x is equals to 3 plus 10. Okay? We're going to transpose this constant in the other side, minus 15. So that we have 10x plus 6x is 16x. And that is 13 minus 15. Okay? So 13 minus 15 is actually what? Negative 2. And if we're going to multiply this, both sides of the equation, just to eliminate just to eliminate 16 here, so we have to multiply it by 1 over 16. So 16x multiplied by 1 over 16, we can cancel 16 here. And this is negative 2 times 1 over 16. So that we have here our answer. X should be equal to negative 2 over 16. But still, we can have the lowest form of this. So we can simplify it to negative 1 over 8. So this should now be our answer for x that would satisfy this linear equation. So if you want to check if that is correct, okay, let's check. We need to substitute again, the values that we get, the value of x that we get onto the original equation. So we have what? 5 times, okay, 2 raised to times negative 1 over 8 plus 3, okay, is equals to 3 minus 2 times 3, okay, raised times to negative 1 over 8 minus 5. Okay, so let's see if this side of the equation, if we simplify, is equal to this side. So what happened here is we can simplify this. 2 multiplied by negative 1, 8, that is simply what? Negative 1/4. Okay, so we have negative 1/4 plus 3 is equals to 3 minus 2. Okay, we simplify this. 3 times negative 1, 8 is negative 3 over 8 minus 5. Okay, so we simplify this first. We add the negative 1/4 to 3. Okay, how do we add that? First, we multiply this. 4 times 3 is 12 plus negative 1. So 12 plus negative 1 is what? 11 over 4. Then copy the same denominator. Okay? The same here for the right side of the equation. We have 8 times negative 5. Okay? That is negative 40. Negative 40 minus negative 3. Well, of course, that should be negative 43 over 8. So, okay, 8 times 5 is 14. We have the negative here. Okay, so minus 3, we have negative 43 over 8. And of course, we multiply this. This should be 55 over 4. And of course, what would happen here? Okay, since this is a multiplication, we need to multiply negative 2 with negative 43, numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator. So we have positive 86 because negative 2 times negative 43 is 86 over 8. Okay, and what are we going to do is simplify this. 55 over 4. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 86. 24 plus 86, that's what we did, over 8. Copy the same denominator. So what will happen there is 55 over 4 is equals to 28 plus 8. 24 plus 86 is 110 over 8. So if we're going to simplify this, divide this both by 2, get this lowest term. So we will get 55 over 4. And that is still the same. Okay? Hence, our answer, negative 1 over 8, is a correct solution for this linear equation. So let's go now to number 4. Let's try another number. Number 4, another example. So solve for x. Solve for x in the equation 2x plus 1 over 2, 1/3 plus x minus 3 over 4. Okay. In this equation, it involves fraction. Okay. It's a rational expression, actually. And what are we going to do first is to eliminate those who are in the denominator. Okay. So, we need to find the LCD of this whole equation. Okay. So, the LCD of this, of 2, 3, and 4. Okay. LCD, least common denominator, is actually where these two three denominators will meet. Okay, so we know that 2, 3, and 4 will meet at a certain number. Okay, that is very least. So what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, if 8, 4 can be meet by 8, but 8 is not divisible by 3. So let's try 12. Okay, is it 12? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 for this. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, 4, 8, 12. So most probably we must multiply this whole equation by the LCD of the equation. So what will happen? We multiply 12. So we have 12 multiplied by 2x plus 1 over 2 is equal to 12 multiplied by 1/3 plus 12 multiplied by x minus 3 over 4. So as you can see, 12 divided by 2 is simply 6. 12 divided by 3 is simply what? 4. 12 divided by 4 is simply 3. So we have eliminated the denominator, so that we have 6 multiplied by 2x plus 1 is equals to 4 times 1 plus 3 times x minus 3. Okay? So 6 by distributive property, we have 6 times 2x, that is 12x, plus 6 times 1 is 6, 4 times 1 is 4, plus distribute this 3x, positive 3 times negative 3, that should be negative 9. And again, combine like terms. So we have 12x here. We transpose this, minus 3x is equals to 4 minus 9. Transpose this, we have negative 6. Okay, simplifying, we have 12x minus 3x is 9x. And this should be 4 minus 9 is negative 5. Negative 5 minus 6 is negative 11. So that if we're going to get the value or isolate the x, okay, isolate the x here, we must multiply both sides of our equation by 1 over 9. Okay, so 9 times 9x, 9x multiplied by 1 over 9 equal to negative 11 times 1 over 9. Okay, so we see that 9 cancel. We are left with x here. We have negative 11 over 9. This is now our solution for our linear equation. So, if you want to check if this is correct, well, of course, you have to substitute this, the value of x, into this, and to verify if you substitute x also here, and if they are equal, this is correct. But most probably this is correct. Okay, if you want to check it, just substitute the value of x that you got into the original equation and see if that should satisfy our equation. So for number 5, we have solve 1.5 times x plus 2, quantity x plus 2 equals to 2.8 plus 6. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a decimal number. So what are you going to do here? The technique is that since it has only one decimal place, okay, we can multiply both sides of the equation by 10. Okay, we can multiply just to eliminate the decimal. So 1.5 times 10, that should be 15. Okay, x plus 2. 2.8 times 10, that should be 28. Okay, plus, of course, 10x. So we have eliminated a decimal by multiplying 10. Okay, and still, don't worry, that is still the same. Okay, because what we did is we multiplied the both sides of our equation by 10. Okay, so it's still equal. So what will happen is we're going to distribute this. 15 times x is 15x plus 15 times 2 is 30 is equals to 28 plus 10x. Then, okay, combining like terms again, 15x minus 10x. We transpose this on the left side equals 28 minus 30. So 15x minus 10x should be 5x. 28 minus 30 should be negative 2. Please be careful. That is a negative 2. And of course, we just want x here, so we multiply it by 1 over 5, both sides of the equation. Hence, we got a value of x is equal to negative 2 over 5. If you want to check again, if this is correct, we should multiply it, or we should substitute this value of x to the original equation and see if it satisfies our equation. Well, again, that's the value of our x there. That is negative 2 over 5. So let's try to have another example again. For number 6, we have 2 times 1 minus x equals to 3, 1 plus 2x plus 5. So this is very similar to our example. Again, we need to simplify. We need to distribute those constants in this parenthesis. So we have 2 times 1 is 2 minus 2x is equals to 3. 3 times 2x plus 6x, okay, plus 5. Then we're going to combine like terms again. So we have negative 2x here. I'm going to transpose this, negative 6x. So that is equal, that should now be equal to 3 plus 5 minus 2, because I've transposed the positive 2 on the other side. So this is negative 8x, negative 2x minus 6x. We add them because they have the same sign, and we copy the negative sign. So 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 minus 2 is 6. So that we can isolate x here by simply multiplying the whole equation by what? Negative 1 over 8. Okay? So negative 8x times negative 1 over 8 is multiplied also by 6 times negative 1 over 8. And negative 8 here, well, of course, negative 1, 8 will cancel. So we are left with the left side equation as x. Okay? As x. Then we have negative 6 over 8. And we can simplify this in the lowest term. Okay, so we have negative 3 over 4. So that should be our value for the x in this linear equation. Okay, pretty easy, right? So let's try to jump up now for our last example. Pretty easy example again. So we have to solve x minus 3 is equals to 2x plus 6. Okay, so again, this should be easy. X minus 2x is equals to 6 plus 3. Okay, so this should be negative x is equals to 9. Well, of course, this is negative x. We are concerned with the value of x. So we need to multiply both sides of the equation by negative 1. So if that's the case, negative x times negative 1 is equal to 9 times negative 1. Definitely negative x times negative 1 is x. And we have 9 times negative 1, negative 9. So we got the value of x, which is negative 9. And that's it. So thank you so much for listening. And I hope you learned something about solving linear equations in one variable. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos about math and physics. Well, of course, engineering courses also soon. Okay? So thank you so much for listening, and God bless you.